Okay, so now we're going to do a division problem that comes from a Big Ideas Math Algebra 1 textbook. And because this is an algebra level book, it's not just a straight division problem. This division is embedded within a word problem that involves the division property of inequality. So what we have to do here is divide 247 by 9.5. So we're going to set up this problem as 247 divided by 95. We're going to ignore the decimal when setting it up and solving, and we'll figure out where to place the decimal point after we get the digits in our quotient. So starting by setting the 95, which is our divisor, on the extreme left edge of the abacus in the 13th and 12th columns. And then we're going to set the 247 we're going to use actually the first tactile mark from the right edge of the abacus as the new edge of the abacus, okay? So if you count off from the right edge of the abacus, 1, 2, 3 columns, you know that tactile mark is going to be on the counting bar to the left of that third column, in between the third and the fourth column. That's going to be our new sort of end of the abacus. So that means we're going to set the 7 of 247 on the fourth column there to the immediate left of that tactile mark. We're going to move to the left of that and set our 4, and then to the left of that 4 and set the 2 of 247. So right now we have 247 set on the 6th, 5th, and 4th columns from the right edge of the abacus. And then we have 3 empty columns to the right of that 7. Okay, so that'll just give us enough room to work with when we're solving and getting a quotient, which may have a remainder, right, or in this case a decimal answer. With those additional columns, we'll have enough space to allow ourselves to have a decimal answer if that is the case. Okay, so now we're going to start by looking at our divisor 95, and we notice that the second digit in 95 is 3 or more, so we're going to have to use a trial divisor in this case, and we do that to help avoid downward correction. I do get into downward correction in another video, so please do check that out if you're unsure. But by this point, when we're at algebra level, most students are going to know what downward correction is and how to use a trial divisor. So in this case, instead of comparing the 9 of 95 with the 2 of 247, we're going to raise the 9 by 1 to a 10, and our trial divisor is going to be 10, okay? So we know 10 is bigger than 2, so we can't divide 10 into 2, but we can divide 10 into 24. And we're going to say that 10 goes into 24 2 times, right? And we're going to set that 2 to the immediate left of the 2 of 24. Okay, so keeping my pointer finger on that 2 that I just set there to the immediate left of the 2 of 247, and now I'm going to multiply that 2 times the first digit 95. I'm not using a trial divisor to multiply, so I'm going to say 9 times 2. We know 9 times 2 is 18, so I'm going to move 1 column to the right of that 2 and subtract the 1 of 18 from that 2 that's already there. Move 1 more column to the right and subtract 8. I don't have enough beads because there's only 4 beads there, so I'm going to use the indirect method of subtraction by going 1 column to the left, clearing 1 bead, and then moving back to that column on the right, setting a 5, and clearing 3 1 beads. So I'm left with 6 in that column. And now I have to repeat that process with the second digit in the divisor, which is 5. So I'm going to multiply the 5 times our 2, our partial quotient figure. 5 times 2 is 10. So starting where my finger is, my right pointer, and that's 6. On that 6, I'm going to clear away the 1 of 10. And then move 1 more column to the right, as I say 0, but of course we're not moving any beads. And now we have left on, as a dividend, 57. And 0, 0, 0, right? Because we have those 3 empty columns still. All right, so let's go to the second round of division, repeating the process using our trial divisor of 10. We compare the 10 with a 5 of 57. 10 is bigger than 5, so we can't divide 10 into 5, but we can divide it into 57. 10 goes into 57 5 times. So I'm going to move to the immediate left of that 5 of 57, set of 5. Keeping my pointer there, I'm going to say 9. For the 9 of 95 times 5 is 45. So move 1 column to the right of that 5, and I have to subtract 4 from that column. There's already a 5b there, so I'm just going to clear that 5 and push up 1, keeping my finger there, and then move 1 more column to the right and subtract 5, right? Because we had to subtract 45. And now I push away that 5 bead, and now I have 1 and a 2 there on the right edge of the abacus. Now I'm keeping my finger where that 2 is, and now I'm ready to multiply the 5 of 95 times our partial quotient figure 5. So 5 times 5 is 25. So I already have 2 B's in the column that my finger is on, so I'm going to subtract the 2 of 25 from that column. and then move one column to the right, and there are no beads there, right? That third column is no beads, so there's nothing to subtract. I'm going to have to go back one column to the left, one more column to the left, and there's a 1 bead. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract that 1 bead and move one column to the right, push all the beads to the counting bar, and then move one more column to the right and set the 5. Okay, and that again is the indirect method of subtracting. And now I have left on the right edge of the abacus as my new dividend 95. And what we notice is that our dividend is the same as our divisor. So we have very quick way of finishing this problem. We can simply use our mental math. We know 95 goes into 95 one time, right? So we're going to, starting with at the 95 on the right side of our abacus, we're going to point off one column to the left, then one more column, and set our 1, because 9 goes into 95 one time. And then we know 1 times 9 is 9, so we say 0, 9 as we move to the right and clear that 9 away. And then 1 times 5 is 0, 5, and clear that 5 away. So the digits in our quotient are 26. To determine where to place a decimal, we're going to start where we started, setting our dividend on the right edge of the abacus, which is at that first tactile mark. And we're going to point off one column to the left for the process of division, plus one more column for each digit in the divisor. In this case, there are 2 digits in the divisor, so we're going to have to point off 2 more columns. 1, move your finger to the left. 2, move your finger to the left. And now your finger should be on the 6 of 26, okay? Now, we're not finished though, because our original problem had a decimal in the divisor. It was 9.5. So now we're at the 0, what's called the 0 point. Now we have to figure out where to place our decimal. We're going to subtract the total number of decimal places in the divisor from the total number of decimal places in the dividend of our original problem. Our original problem was 247 divided by 9.5, so there were no decimal places in the dividend. So 0 decimal places minus 1 decimal places is a -1. That means we're going to have to move 1 column to the right of where we left off, where our 0 point is. So that means my pointer finger is now basically on that column where the 6 is. I'm going to move 1 more column to the right. And there is where I place my decimal point. So my decimal point is actually going to go to the right of the 6 of 26. So that means we have a whole number answer of simply 26. Okay, so 247 divided by 9.5 is 26.